we're kind of talking about how like it's a players' league, and we talked a lot about Fox. And we kind of touched upon the fact that he could easily be an all-star, and maybe we both agreed on the fact that Fox is the best player on this team. But Domantas Sabonis is it's kind of crazy how good he's been these last few games, and in particular, just kind of the way because he just looked so sloppy in the beginning of the season. Not for any lack of aggression, but he's kept up being aggressive, and he's just been executing better. It just seems like, and it probably has a lot to do with the flow of the offense and the understanding of the offense for the other four guys around him. But the game just looks a lot easier for him again, and he's looking like himself. And we were alluding to the fact that he could easily be an all-star, obviously, and it's really easy to see why, especially when you make that case of if the Kings can win games, because one of the things about this team is they're one of the best offenses in the league. It's just that's the way it is, and that is because of Sabonis. It's such a difference maker when he's on the floor. You could totally see it. When the second game against the Warriors this season, when Metu had some good minutes, it was not the same thing in the most recent one. I think he came out in the negative by 1 point. Maybe it was nothing, but you could totally see it. It's the offense is completely different when Sabonis isn't on the floor, and he's not just the center on the team, but he's like the center of the team in a way. Fox is the best player, but it seems like Sabonis is like the kind of the scaffolding or the kind of structure.
Yeah, like the foundation. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, I agree. I think Fox is the best player, but this team would collapse without Sabonis. I think more so than without Fox, which is interesting. Because just Sabonis, dude, he is the focal point of that offense if Fox doesn't have the ball, right? I mean, he's facilitating. I don't know. It's just so nice to watch a big man like him facilitate the offense, and everything runs through him. And yeah, like you said, he goes off the floor and starts to struggle a little. And he's just so good. He's good in the 2-man game. He's good at passing and directing traffic. So, yeah, they definitely hurt when he's off. And it just shows how focal of a point he is on this team, and why you could technically argue he is the best player.
Yeah, it's no easy argument. Yeah,
exactly. Because I think he's more important to everyone else's, success. Really, I don't know. Is Herter having this good of a year if it's not Sabonis and Holmes, at the center position? I don't think so.
I'll tell you right now, no, because Herter has been talking about how everything about this offense is just he can trust that the ball is going to come back to him. And he's always talked about how that's because of Sabonis.
Yeah.
And so that absolutely. And just to touch upon the two, Herter and him in the 2-man game is just as fun to watch as him and Fox. I almost feel like you see it a little bit more sometimes. But you see Sabonis sometimes with Monk. You see him I think you've seen it a couple times with Murray. And it's just like all these connections, it's so crazy, and it keeps defenses off balance, gives them different looks, and there's just so many weapons on this team. And like you said, it's because of Sabonis. He's kind of loading each of these weapons with ammunition, and it's great. It's what makes him so special. And I think that is an interesting concept, though, that it's like Fox is the best player, but if you take Sabonis away, they collapse far more than they would without Fox. And and that's not to say they'd be fine without Fox. They're obviously, we're talking about how Fox is closing out games. He's taking things upon himself to really kind of give his team the edge in the end. So you'd be losing that. So you'd probably still be losing games. But without Sabonis, he's that glue. He just connects everything. He keeps the team competitive. A team without Fox would look a lot like how the team looked after the Sabonis trade last year, it's like, oh, they're competing pretty well, but it's like not quite. You know, Fox puts them over the top. Fox makes them a contender, not just for the. I mean, he makes them a contender for, you know, a potential winning record this season, and definitely a play-in contender. Um, but it's like this Sabonis is just you can never lose sight of him. I feel like I tell you this when we're kind of like leading up to the podcast. It's just like, man, I feel like we should talk about Sabonis, but I just don't know what to say, you know, because you just don't want to get redundant. Because it's like, yeah, he's good. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's true. It's like I said, he's like Fox, because like Fox is that clutch guy. You know, he's leading in clutch scoring right now. He's the one who's going to score those points at the end of games or just throughout the game, and he's going to get buckets when he needs to get a bucket. That's your go-to scorer right there. Where, like I said, Sabonis, he's not as flashy. You know, he's the one facilitating the offense, but you know, not every not every time the ball runs through him, he's going to get an assist. So he's not going to rack up like 15 assists a game. But so I don't know. It's just kind of like that concept where, you just notice Fox a little more than Sabonis. Sabonis kind of does more of the dirty work. But again, very integral. I don't even want to ask. I'm not even going to debate who's better. They're just both so good. And that's why they were both nominees for Western Conference Player of the Week. And, you know, deservedly.
yeah,
They're both really good and both very integral to the success of this team, each in their own way. Really, I mean,
there's a
you
very
need
good
both,
chance they could. There's a very good chance they could both be all stars.
dude. Oh God, that would be
Because we
so
said that
cool.
I think we said that at the beginning of the year too. Because it's like there's a pretty good chance Sabonis can be an all star. Like Fox, like if Fox is an all star, like because we were talking, I think, kind of about like maybe it's easier for Sabonis. There's like less competition maybe for Sabonis to be an all star, as opposed to Fox. But Fox has just put himself at the top of the list. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have two all stars. Maybe that's getting greedy. But man, like we said, this team is popping up on a lot of people's radars, and you know, you definitely it's early, but you definitely can't rule it out. But kind of off of Sabonis.
Well, sorry, even
No,
before
keep
that,
going.
no, it's like you say it's still early and stuff, and it's like yeah, the Kings every now and then they had like a good start to the season, but kind of like where we said going into the season, it just is different. It feels different. There's actually like they look super good on paper, and these wins in this early start to the season, it's like yeah, 6-6 and everything, but it just looks so different than what we've been seeing the last 16 years. And there's there feels like there's a good chance that they can continue winning games, and like not like a very high rate, but like a better rate that they've been the last 16 years, and where they actually have a legit shot at making the play in. That's what it actually feels like. Regardless how early it is, it really does look different than years past. And you know what? I'm not saying you should get your hopes up. I hope you are, but I think there's yeah, there's a better chance this year than what we've seen in years past. I feel like I got redundant right there, but
It's different. I'm different.